Hi, this is Father John Canoro from Oswego, New York, and I play at Oswego Country Club. This is Golf Smarter number 983.
What did we learn in 2024 that we can bring to 2025 and take advantage of?
Take advantage of. I think we've learned that the golf viewership in the world is kind of tired of hearing about money. I think we can stop that. I think we can learn that we can all get along. I think you saw at the PGA Championship that Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau and those guys can get along with each other. They're fine. It's going to be okay. And I'm hoping we learned that maybe this should happen across the board. I'll tell you right now, if I owned a tour and I could have the opportunity to have the personalities that play on LIV play a few of my events, I'd want them out there. I hope we've learned that. Maybe from the PGA Championship we learned that. And we'll learn it from the Masters.
Pro golf in the 21st century. Can TGL lead the way? The return of golf agent Mac Barnhardt.
This is Golf Smarter, sharing stories, tips, and insights from great golf minds to help you lower your score and raise your golf IQ. Here's your host, Fred Green.
Welcome back to the Golf Smarter podcast, Mac.
Thanks, Fred. Great to be back, sir. Thank you.
It's great to have you back. I had so much fun last time and quoted you so many times from your last episode that I was like, could not wait to get you back on the show.
Thank you. I'm very honored for that. I really do appreciate it.
So there's so many topics I want to go over, but right now, and I don't usually do newsworthy conversation, but there's a couple things going on in golf industry right now that are really fascinating. You can see I'm wearing my Bay Golf Club shirt. I saw the first night of TGL, bought the shirt for the Bay Club. Okay, that's my team, right?
I love it.
It's one of the things you talked about. LIV Blue was the fact that they didn't regionalize their teams.
Yep.
And here TGL comes in and creates, not necessarily because these guys are from there, but they created teams from different regions.
Absolutely.
So that you can root for them.
Yeah, I've got a Lucas Glover, a client of mine, is on the Atlanta Drive, which is owned by.
Oh, he's on Atlanta.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And he's
great.
And this is an
more
Atlanta.
of my questions.
This is an Atlanta Drive hat right here with the big A right here on it. It's in black.
Okay.
On black. It's been a lot of fun. I know they've got some technical difficulties that are happening. But
of course, it was the first. I mean, they've only done it twice.
I've never seen Tiger last so hard as the other night when Kevin Kisner boned it out of the bunker into the flagstick, and it's good to see
so
Tiger
great.
laugh.
And good to see Tiger being a person.
Yeah, and he is.
Instead of,
and he is. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, we all do that.
And that really exposed it. It was beautiful.
And I saw Kevin Kisner. I was down in Palm Springs for the American Express event. He had flown, I guess, that night after the thing because he's playing, and I ran into him and I looked at him and he was talking about it, and I said, man, I just love when you guys hit a shot like that so that you can prove to even the best players in the world can do it. And, and that was his first trip there. The people don't realize he did not get a practice session. Lucas has got a couple of practice sessions. But I had Mike McCarley, who did it, who started that whole deal, and Jeff Newbarth.
With Tiger and Roy, right?
Yep. And I mean, I love it. I love the team part of it. There was a team chat with Atlanta Drive watching it together. So Cantley, Justin Thomas, and Billy Horschel, and all four of them commenting about certain things. And I won't go into some of it because it was really, they were having fun with those guys that were hitting bad shots. But I go, and people think team doesn't work. And here's four guys that really aren't related in any way. Justin Thomas, Lucas is the older guy. And they're just... Other
than being on the PGA Tour.
And they are now on the Atlanta Drive. And I think it's the coolest thing. I have gear. My son, who is Lucas's godfather, or he's Lucas's godson, he's ordered swag. And I said, dude, I can get that for you for free. And he goes, no, I just used your credit card. That's okay. So, yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So 2 weeks into it, we'll probably publish this on the day of the third episode. Mm-hmm. Your thoughts about, technical, of course, there's going to be technical issues. There's going to be things that they have to learn as they figure it out on, to me, like when creating almost a boxing or a wrestling atmosphere when they walk into the arena, but they're walking and it's like, no, dude, get fired up, pump it up.
Absolutely.
Let's, don't be so cool. Like I'm a PGA Tour. Just let's fire this crowd up, because the crowd is kind of, the crowd is kind of separated. So you don't really get a full sense of loud, and emotional.
Yeah, you got to kind of look at it like the 16th hole in Scottsdale at the Waste Management. They've got that thing surrounded now, and it's an outdoor.
The par 3.
Yeah, so
yeah,
it's kind of what it's like in there. I wish the first match didn't quite have as much banter between the players. And we were talking about they've got a shot clock, but they really don't need it. They've got the electronic measures, they know the numbers. So there's, once they pick it, then they've got, I don't think the shot clock ever got below like 15 on anybody. And
the second week, that heartbeat got louder and louder. I saw one of them going down to about 2 seconds.
Oh, you did? Okay. But I was talking about the first one. And, but yeah, I think the only technical difficulty that I've seen, and it was there when Lucas did his practice sessions, and I was with him, is the wedges. For some reason, I think Lucas had like a 140-yard shot, and he hit it at like 151. And he looked at me like, whoa. And the guy with me, one of the guys, he goes, and Lucas says, I hit that 141. And the guy goes, does he know that? And I'm like, yeah, he knows that. I go, that's what makes them pros. Those guys know how far their wedges go. They might be a little, they might be a little off on their 4 and 5 irons, but no, inside 130, 40, they can hit it within a yard. And that's what makes them so great. So when you saw Tiger miss it by 20 yards with a wedge, the greatest player
when he overshot, right. And he's like, I've never hit that club that far.
Yeah. So there's something that they've got to figure out there. But look, who cares if they did hit that bad a shot? You know what? It's just, this is an entertainment product. This is not the Masters. It's not the U.S. Open and the Open Championship. It's entertainment. It's a time for people to see these guys in a little different light, see them a little more, like I said, if one of them walked out with a beer and just stuck it on the ground like we would, if people play golf, I said nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to tell people to drink and play golf, but they do.
Oh, wouldn't that be hilarious if they had a beverage cart pull up in the
cart girl? Yeah.
I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say a beverage cart. I'm not going to say it's a cart girl.
Okay.
But if they had somebody pull up when he's about to tee off, and somebody pulls up with drinks.
With a girl,
you guys
with a girl
good?
driving it. Okay, let's just be honest.
I'm
I'm being funny. But yeah, I love it. I've been down there. I get to see it inside the ropes there. And so I went down with Lucas, and it's a blast. And Mr. Arthur Blank, who owns the Atlanta Drive and has put so much behind it, and he's such a great guy, big golf enthusiast, and I think that's what this is about. And I think younger kids will really dig this. I think there's some guys at my club at home, Frederica Golf Club, that a little older that is kind of poo-pooing it a little bit, but that's fine.
That's not for them.
No,
that's not who it's designed for. It's not who it's designed
for. So I'm excited about it.
So does each team have a different owner, someone that's not associated with, and who determines who's going to be on the team? Is it an invitation only?
Invitation only. Yeah, they draft them.
Yeah. So Lucas getting on a team is phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Great exposure.
Well,
too.
Everybody, if he's not the most liked player on tour, he's got to be close to it. He's one of the most authentic and very intelligent guys. Probably one of the best ball strikers that ever played the game. Considering the average career on tour is 2.7 years, and he's been out there 21 years, speaks volumes. And he went through quite a time where he couldn't make it from 2 feet at times. That tells you how a good ball striker is, and a competitor and a hard worker. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And, I know Billy Horschel really well. I know Justin Thomas a little. I barely know Patrick Cantley. But they're all 4 very different people. But it's fun. It will be fun to see them meld into a team. And I think they'll all learn something from each other.
So you have 4 people on a team, but only 3 are playing. Is that just because someone's going to go, my schedule's not going to work this way?
Correct, yeah. Lucas is not going to play the first match on the 21st, but he will play the doubleheader on February 17th. So he's out. And, and again, that's
doubleheader?
He's going to play the 2 matches.
There's a doubleheader coming up?
On the 17th. I hope I wouldn't mess up people telling that. But yeah, he's playing 2 matches on the 17th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he loves it. The fun thing about him is he lives right there, so he'll just go down now and hang out in there.
Easy.
And I tell people all the time, I said, if you're wealthy or if you have a company and you wanted to have some fun, how about renting that place out for instead of having a pro-am or a outing at a golf course? How about renting that thing out at night and maybe even hiring some of these players to come play with you? And I mean, I think that, I think, as I said to my Jeff Newbarth, who's a producer or whatever it is, I said, I think there's going to be a huge demand for people wanting to rent this thing out. I mean, it's also, I couldn't afford it, but it's pretty cool. I was hoping they'd give Lucas one
corporate.
or 2 free days.
It'll just be corporate.
Yeah. Well, I think you'll have some guys rent it out for fun.
Big players.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I can't wait to see mixed teams. I want to see, a woman on the team. I want to see women playing against women. I want to see the seniors. Like, one of the things that was pointed out that I thought was amazing is Tiger really can't walk 72 holes and be competitive right now, it feels like, but he can do this. Yeah. So if it's not going to be taxing on you physically to play in a match.
Bring Trevino in.
Exactly. Bring the old guys. Would love to watch that.
Well, I agree with you 100%. I agree also. I wouldn't shock me that this doesn't parlay into having women's teams or mixed teams. It wouldn't shock me. I'll say this out loud. I thought how cool it would be to have one team playing a mystery team and having that mystery team be Bryson DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, and Harold Varner walking out at a LIV team and say, okay, we're all fine. Let's get back and play golf. We can all get along well, and it'll be okay. I think there could be a lot of things done.
Well, so if it was invitation only to be on teams, did they exclude LIV players intentionally?
Looks like it. I don't see one on
there. You're not going there.
Oh, well, yeah, it's still a little minefield out there with that stuff. And I'm a big PGA Tour fan, Asian Tour fan. I'm a big LIV Tour fan. I have golfers that play golf for a living. There can't be enough leagues and opportunities out there for me. And there's people that, don't like me because of it. And I'm sorry, that's just my level. And as I said, if you haven't been to a LIV event, I really don't want to talk to you because they're incredibly fun. And those guys are having a ball out there playing that golf. It's 3 rounds. And I was telling somebody the other day, I said, people don't realize that the Korn Ferry Tour, which started out as the Ben Hogan Tour, was a 54-hole tournament. So just a lot of that rhetoric, they handled it all wrong. We went through that in the first session. So they just handled it all wrong, and it'll sneak its way back in somehow.
All right, now let's pick it up where we left off here, talking about LIV, because last time you were on, we had a long conversation about it, and I appointed you the commissioner, and you said, well, the first thing I would do is take the meeting.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So there's been some, in the last week or so, as we're recording this, there's been a lot of changes in LIV structure, and they announced a TV deal with Fox.
Absolutely. It's monstrous. So, missing piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. So tell me what your thoughts are about what's going to happen with LIV next. Is it going to catch on, or is it going to peter out and these guys are going to get to come back to the PGA Tour and TGL is going to, take over what they were trying to do with the team golf concept?
Yeah. Oh, wow. I tell you, and we may have talked about this, but go back and look at film of the Ryder Cup back in the 70s and 80s. Go find some and look at how many people were there. They couldn't give the tickets away to come to the Ryder Cup. It was a great exhibition of golf. And then the War by the Shore in 91 turned it into something that they can't even, they're the dog that caught the car now. That thing is so big and going to be in New York. And so does it catch on? I don't see how it can't. I mean, look at not only the talent they have, but the personalities they have. Sergio Garcia, Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka. All different people. Harold Varner.
Oh, come on. Wait. Brooks Koepka and personality? Come on.
Well, you haven't.
Bryson, yes. Brooks is not a big personality.
Well, you see, this is the thing. Yeah, he is. He is. Go watch the tournament because it's a little more free flowing. And when I say personality, it doesn't mean they're all like Harold Varner. They're not Lee Trevino or whatever. but he has a personality. He has a swagger. I mean, he's cool. He's cool, right? I mean, he's a cool dude. Dustin Johnson's cool.
Okay, that'll.
I mean, they're cool. I mean, so it has to catch on to some point because they have the funding. Now they have a TV deal with Fox. You're going to get exposed to it. Eventually, the rhetoric's going to go away. Hopefully, Brandel can calm down a little bit and quit calling oil. He's calling Saudi money dirty money because it's oil money. And I'm like, well, buddy, I got a feeling we got a guy coming in the office. There's going to be some oil coming out of our ground soon.
Right. Old money, golf. Come on, man.
So, but like I say, yeah, I think it's going to catch on because I think what people, even though all this stuff has really hurt professional golf, all the talk about the money and all the participation of golf is way, way up. And I don't think the problem is as much viewership is down. I just think it's back to normal viewership before Tiger showed up. You know, I had a guy, I'll say his name, Walter Mueller. He's I played golf with him some. He's at Frederica and Congaree and places, and probably one of the smartest mathematical minds in the world, and worked for Bank of America for a long time. And I asked him, could you take Tiger out of the model? Could you take Tiger out of the model for me of the PGA Tour? So if he had never shown up, where would we be as far as purses? Just so he gets on his computer, really nice bottle of Bordeaux, and he's typing, and he shows me a chart, and he has to explain it to me, and he shows me like somebody, I don't think people remember, 1981, my brother was caddying on tour, but first place at the Houston Open was $45,000 in 1981. So the chart and the growth between 1980 and 1995 is a very constant, slow growth of the game and purses. And then this kid from California shows up and purses ignite. And you can see that graph line just shoot up in the air and it just, I mean, it skyrockets. But yet he continued on like Tiger would have never been there. How he did that, I'm sure it had pie in it, and I'm sure it had all kinds of things in it, but he did it.
Okay. Give it to the math
And
guy.
so he runs it all the way out to where we are today. And purses would be between $5.5 and $6 million. And that sounds really low right now, right? I mean, compared to what's going on.
Still sounds amazing, but is that really low compared to what's going on?
Well, 20 million.
Oh my God.
Okay.
On PGA Tour, purses are in the 20 million range?
The signature events. The signature events, I think, are $20 million. It's up there. It's a lot.
What about the Masters? What is that? Count as that?
Yeah, it's always been a funny thing. All the organizations seem to always have kind of the same purses. They are all just the same, regardless. I don't know. But I think the Masters does not promote money. And as I think we said, the Masters could hold that tournament and say, we're not paying you a dime. You get a jacket and a trophy and an invitation back if you win. And everybody would show up for the Masters, period, right?
Well, that was on TGL the first night when they were interviewing Tiger, and they were commenting on the guy who was on the sidelines, his coat. And Tiger's like, I'll take a green one, thank you. I would never wear that.
There you go. So Masters never talks about money, which I love. It's not about the money, guys. I mean, it's great you get paid. I was telling somebody, Dak Prescott, I don't know how much he signed for, but every time he threw a touchdown pass, they didn't tell you how much money his contract was. That was talked about one time. And it's one of the things that's hurt golf is that every day here's more money. Why don't we play for more than that? Let's play for the competition. Yeah, you get paid, yeah. So, and then I told somebody that, and again, this could be wrong. I mean, Walter could be off a little bit, but I doubt it, guys. But $6 million sounds really low to people. Like, oh, come on. And I said, do you know what the second largest tour on earth, 4-round tour, I'll call it the 4-round tour, it would be the European Tour. And you know where their purses are? $3 million. So $6 million is probably not far off of what if Tiger had never shown up. And so here's the big question. Now that Tiger's kind of, he hadn't left the game, but he's not a consistent performer on the PGA Tour.
Right.
Were they already headed in the wrong direction of having purses to be 10 million and 12 million and 14 million and 20 million? Without LIV showing up, were they already heading out of sustainability for what really the marketplace will hold? It's kind of like the Michael Jordan thing. I watched the NBA when Michael Jordan played. The minute he retired, I don't think I've seen a game since. Not because of LeBron, Kobe. I mean, Michael grew up in North Carolina where I did, but that's just I love watching Michael Jordan play basketball. And I think there were people that love to watch Tiger Woods play golf, as they should. And I think when he didn't play, I think a lot of people quit watching and went back out to play. I mean, I'll have to tell you, except for clients winning a golf tournament, the only time on a Sunday that I would come in off the range or not play golf is if Tiger was winning something. Because I wanted to see what he was going to do, because I knew he wasn't going to choke. I knew he was going to beat you. I knew he had to win. But unless it was a client right now, there's no way that I would leave the range to go watch any other golfer win. Nothing against them. And I think that's where the tour has to be careful with where they are. They have to realize who they really are now. You know, if ratings are down 30%, maybe that's just those 30% of the people were just Tiger people. And so, and again, and we went through that. I was pretty critical of the tour, and I still am. I think they haven't made very many, if any, good decisions involved in all this. And I hate to be that way, and I get called the Joe Rogan of golf because of that. But I'm being honest. So will LIV, back to the question, will LIV make it? I think so. And I think this TV product with Fox is going to be a big part of it.
Yeah, it's going to change their exposure dramatically.
Yeah.
Obviously. And what about Greg Norman out, Scott O'Neill in?
Yeah, I think that's a good deal. I think Greg got it to where it was ready to go to put somebody in.
As far as he could get it?
I think he could kept going. I mean, Greg's a smart man. I mean, and a good guy. Listen, you know, there's some stories, and I'm not going to tell them, but I know things Greg has done. He's a better guy than people make him out to be. He's very cocky, very confident, and I haven't met anybody successful yet that's not. But he was smart enough to do it. But I think he's in his late 60s. I mean, he's probably ready to go enjoy himself, and he got it to where it is. And now they've brought somebody in, I think, to take it to the next level. And I think I think all businesses get to that point. I mean, Steve Jobs built Apple, but he didn't run it from that level, right? I mean, he got it to the point. So, I'm bullish on it. I think it'll go. And look, they're going. I mean, we'll see. My first event I'll go to will be in Miami. I've got Andy Ogletree as a client. And just to tell you that Andy just flew out today to California to Phil's house, and the High Flyers are having a kind of a spring training camp right now before they take off. So wow. It's real. The people are not teams. No, I mean Phil. I mean, you know, Andy signed with Phil's team not because it was the best money, but he was going to get to learn under one of the greatest players to ever play. So, I mean, yeah, so it's pretty cool. I'm on both sides of it. It's pretty fun. But
a lot of people's complaint about LIV is that what are they playing for? I mean, you know, they don't have, like Tiger just wants to win majors, right? I mean, where does it leave you in history as far as professional golf is concerned? What is LIV trying to get people go, I got to go back every year and watch this type of thing?
Let's look at it. Let's look at how pro golf really got started. There were
from amateur golf.
But they were community. They were community events. Let's go to Greensboro, the Wyndham Championship. A small little tournament used to be called the GGO. It was run by the Chamber of Commerce. It was to promote Greensboro. Okay. And as time went on, and the golf course was kind of, and a guy named Bobby Long came in and saved it because it was so good for the community. They gave all this money back to the charity. And it gave, for that 6 days, if you go to that event, they don't have the best players in the world play there. They don't get that field. They got Tiger one time. That kind of messed them up. But as a rule, they'll get a few top players, but it's the last event before the playoffs. So a lot of Scotty Scheffler's not there. But go there and see if you think there's not a buzz, because it's a community event. They come in, they've got chalets, they go have drinks with friends, and they go follow golf. But the golf is kind of an add-on. It's kind of like Waste Management, who has, 100,000 people a day. There's not 100,000 people watching golf at Waste Management if you've ever been there. And it's a community event. So when LIV goes to Australia, which the tour never did, and you bring these players in, go watch the crowd and the environment for that 1 week. And the Kentucky Derby, You go to Lexington that 1 week, buddy, it's in the happening is where you are. And so these golf tournaments, Sanderson Farms in Mississippi, they don't have hardly any top players play. But you should go see the community come out together. And again, that's when the tour was a nonprofit and they were giving all this money out to charity. I don't know what's going to happen now that they're a private equity funded for-profit thing. That I think that's another error. But so when LIV goes to an environment that doesn't see this kind of golf, Singapore, the places they go, it's a big deal. Whoever they bring, I don't even think half of them know, but all you have is one name. And then going back to the majors, Colin Montgomery, okay, never won a major. You know, any event, you can win any tournament you want, but you're not really recognized till you win a major. And that's all that matters. You know, and I know there's out there, if you play the LIV Tour, you can't get in a major. Well, not true. You can qualify for the U.S. Open. You can do things. And now the PGA of America is allowing LIV players to play. They invited LIV players to play in their event. They're going to come back together. And I think the PGA of America will be the front runner in bringing golf back together, if you want my opinion. I really do. They the ones started this thing. They started the tour. The PGA Tour used to be known as the TPA, Tournament Players Association. You got to go back some time in this. Okay, you have to go back. But yeah, that's where the PGA Tour came from, is the PGA of America. Because they are the grassroots guys that they're the guys that are overseeing every golfer in America. The club pros at both public and private clubs. So that would be my guess, is the PGA of America will end up being the conduit to bringing golf back together. Prediction.
You were talking about these various events where it creates a buzz locally, but now to promote a sport, to grow a sport, you need online, you need television, you need to make it a global, and if that's only a national thing, but it's got to be like a national thing. So like, I don't know, I watched the PNC Tour. That's not an official tour event, but yet watching the team of a professional player and somebody in their family, you know, Tiger and Charlie, there was a buzz. There was a real buzz about that.
Absolutely, man. Are you kidding? I mean, the Shark Shootout used to have that. That in Naples. Yeah, I mean, I guess I go back to grow. What is the purpose to grow it? I mean, it will grow at its own.
Financial.
Okay, but how much is enough? I mean, this is the whole point, is that, to artificially grow something, or you can't make it grow. I mean, John Daly showed up in 91. He was a growth spurt. I call him a growth spurt when he won the PGA championship. I think we may have mentioned it. At the time, if you got $10,000 or $15,000 for a day outing for a pro, big deal. And I remember John Daly, we heard that he got $50,000 for a day outing. And we were losing our minds because, rises all boats, right?
Right.
And then if you really want to watch the boat rise, 1996, Tiger Woods shows up. And Tiger Woods made everybody in golf money. Me, club reps, people that made grips. He made everybody money. This PIP deal they did, giving money to the players that impacted the tour. I don't know if you know about that. Yeah. So the tour decided there were 10 or whatever guys that really mattered. And they had some kind of made up, I think it's made up, and Tiger got the first prize for player impact. And he played, 3 events. And he got $10 million. And Scotty Scheffler, he got $8 million. Jordan Spieth got $4.5 million. Wyndham Clark got $3.5 million. And I'm like, well, first of all, they should have just give all the money to Tiger, first of all. Because the impact of the tour has been affected for 40 years. Bobby Watkins, Gary Koch, Robert Wren, there's guys that have been playing Wednesday Pro-Ams for free to promote the tour for years and years. There's not a name that I can't mention. Every tour player has given free time and their media rights to the tour to impact the tour. So before, in the 80s, there were people doing things. In the 90s, and Greg Norman drew the tour. And everyone impacted the tour. But Tiger, he was the needle. He didn't move the needle. He was the needle. So if you want to give money away for impacting the tour, just give it all to Tiger and be done with it. Because I promise you, no one else has ever touched the needle like that. Greg Norman got a little close to it. Palmer back in the day, Nicklaus a little bit. I mean, there were little needle movers. Nothing did what Tiger did. I don't know if it can ever be done again. I mean, I saw it.
And it was timing of that as well. I mean, it was just at the exact right time.
Yeah,
for him to arrive.
I remember doing contracts before Tiger shows up, and we'll call it $1. The contract was $1. Tiger shows up, and I was doing contracts for the same people for $10. And I didn't get better at negotiating. The market rose. It just went up and up and up, and TV and I think, okay, they got drunk on it, man. They got drunk on growth, and it just wasn't going to grow anymore. I think Tiger's effect of growth on the tour slowed down somewhere around 2009 or 10. I think it leveled off. I don't think that's what Walter's chart says.
Well, there was the crash in 2008 too, right? There was the market.
Well, there were two crashes. There were two crashes, but we won't go there. I'll let people figure out the other crash.
Oh, you really gonna do that to me?
Well, Tiger had a crash.
Oh, that crashed,
and that did,
and then the market crashed.
Yeah, and certainly look, Tiger's a great guy. Don't take that. I'm not hitting on him. And life is life. A lot of things going out there that that are normal human life. But I think they got drunk because how's it going to grow? Why does it need to grow? Why don't it just exist? Why does everything have to grow? Is it not enough to win $1 million if you win a golf tournament? Well, you got to win 1.3. I mean, and these guys are not going to go get jobs if purses come down. They're not going to quit and go get an insurance job. They're not going to come do what I do. I mean, they're going to do what they do, and they'll get paid. Like my income has gone down, just like Tiger's effect has gone down. Contracts have gone back down, and I keep saying this. I watched it. I mean, there was a spurt there between 98 and 2007. I mean, there was money in this game. I mean, you want to negotiate a contract, it was out there, and it was unbelievable the amount of money people were making, but it stopped. I mean, it slowed down, and it's slowed down to a point now to levels that I'm not comfortable with at all, right? And I don't think the tour knows that. I think they're trying to go up. Sustainability is a big thing, right? And that's my concern with it. Can they sustain this thing? They don't. There's not another Tiger. We were talking about the other day. When Tiger was playing on TV, they showed him do everything. Get a drink of water, scratch himself. It didn't matter. The camera was on Tiger. And it was great. And now Scotty Scheffler, who is having a Tiger-like career right now. And they are doing the same thing. Here's Scotty Scheffler for par from 4 inches. Well, that's not Tiger. They don't show us Scotty Scheffler making a 4-inch putt. Show me somebody else. TV kind of got locked in. Well, here's our next big star. We'll show you him do everything. People don't care. And I hear it all the time, and I think it was I don't know who came out with this, but it's hard to pick those players apart out there now. I mean, they all look very similar. It's mind-boggling, but there's not much personality on the PGA Tour now. It's just kind of, I'm not saying robotic, but getting there. And I think what people don't realize is the PGA Tour is an entertainment product. It is not a major. Maybe their Players Championship, I've always considered a major, the Players Championship. Probably one of the best fields in golf. It's hard to be a major, because there's 4 majors on the majors, right? But everything other than the Players Championship is an entertainment property. It's not a major. It shouldn't pay like one. As I said, I think most people would play majors without a paycheck. Has that much thing. So I don't know why they worry about keeping up with purse.
When a major changes your life.
It does. And you become a major winner, and that's a big thing in life. But yeah, I think that's up to the PGA Tour to figure out that, hey, we're not the Masters and we're not the Open. We're an entertainment property. And these entertainment properties, the last 4 years, I'm not sure the PGA Tour has done anything to try to create a better product for the consumer. It looks like they've done everything trying to save their jobs and protect something that I don't know. And that sounds bad, but it's just, it just looks true because the product hasn't changed. And then one of the things, we'll go back to the TGL thing. One of the things I love is that Marty guy. I'm sorry, I can't remember his last name. I should, and Scott Van Pelt. I mean, having them announce. I mean,
the ESPN.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun. And obviously, I love Jim Nantz, but some of the other people they put out there. I mean, there's a guy named John McGinnis that used to play the tour. I'd have him on the 16th tower. I mean, he's smart and funny as you can make him. I would stretch the envelope of who I would put in these towers. Get some guys like the Gary McCords used to be. I want to have some fun. I mean, I know he pulled it left. I can see that on TV. But give me something that's why I love European Tour. European Tour announcers are still
Faraday was always good at that.
Absolutely.
Right?
And that's what I'm saying. But they seem to get guys that are good at golf, like Faldo. I mean, great record, but come on. I mean, not that entertaining. Johnny Miller was entertaining. Paul Azinger was entertaining. Because they're not scared. They'll tell you what they think, right? And I'm not saying Nick wouldn't. I'm not. But again, the product that you're giving to your consumer is so important when you're an entertainment product, and that's what the tour is. And
we've had Barney Adams multiple times come on and say, "Listen, the PGA Tour is a TV show.
Yeah,
start there.
Yeah, start there." I don't need Savannah Bananas. I don't
love them.
Okay, my daughter lives just down the street from the stadium, and I haven't met this Jesse guy. I want to so bad because I watch his podcast, TED Talks, wherever he does, and he goes, what we did was created something that people wanted to see first and work backwards. And that's a really funny. I'm thinking, wow, what do people really want to see at a professional golf event? What if we went and found that out and then gave that to them? And then work backwards instead of saying, okay, this is what you're going to do. You're going to watch the top 50 players and they're going to play for some obscene amount of money, and don't get close to them. Don't talk, get behind the ropes and watch them play and earn all this money. And then we're all going to make a bunch of money. Thanks for coming. Not how I would create an entertainment product. I think they should call Jesse and say, man, what do you think we should do? And maybe it's not as cooped up as that is, but I'll tell you one thing: they sell out every major league stadium and they go to sell it out.
And now they're doing tours now. I mean, they have caught on.
They sold Boston.
And thank you, YouTube.
Okay, and if you go to Savannah and you want to go buy a ticket, well, good luck. They're priced out for years.
Wow,
years.
Great.
And awesome. You know why? Because it's a fun entertainment product, and I'm not going to associate that with LIV. They're not Savannah Bananas, but they are different. They are showing you incredible talent, incredible golf, but the product is different. There's music; it's got a little more pizzazz to it, and again, go ahead.
I can't see any golf product being irreverent, and I think that's the thing about the Savannah Bananas is they're irreverent.
Oh yeah,
and they're not flipping their nose at Major League Baseball.
Nope.
They're just saying, hey, we're just out here to have a good time. This is fun. We're just going to be silly about this.
And I promise you.
I can't see LIV doing that. I can't see, maybe TGL. I mean, the fact that they have on TGL, they have all these guys mic'd up and you can hear them, the banter, and you hear them. Hopefully we'll see a competitive match soon instead of these blowouts.
Oh, gosh, I know. That was horrible.
Both of them, first two.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's a momentum game, I guess. Well, but anyway, I think there's just a lot. I think Ponte Vedra, the PGA Tour's got a lot of soul searching to figure out really what do they have, right? And when Tiger showed up, they really looked like they were good at what they were doing. And it's kind of what I do for a living, managing a golfer. When Davis Love or Justin Leonard were winning majors, I was an incredible negotiator. You have no idea. But when guys start missing cuts and finishing 100th on the money list, my negotiating skills go out the window. And it's kind of like a caddy, how great a caddy is. Well, got a lot to do with how good that guy is playing, right? And so that's just, like I say, I'm hoping that, the PGA Tour, because that's where a majority of my clients play. They figure it out and pulling for them. But I don't have any say in that. And so I'm a lot of hoping right now.
Moments ago, you talked about how the TV and the PGA Tour, they followed Tiger's every single move, but they missed one in 2024 that I think is what happened. I have my own personal rule of when you're playing with your buddies and you're on a par 3, nobody's supposed to be going up against a tree and peeing with their back to your shot. Mm-hmm. Because the only time I had a hole in one, my friend missed the whole thing because he was peeing in the tree. So I think when Charlie hit the hole in one at the PNC in 2024, and Tiger wasn't there, it wasn't the PNC at that point. It was peeing and didn't see. I personally think Tiger was in the bathroom and he missed the whole thing.
Oh my gosh! You never think about the rule is you can't relieve yourself on par 3s, par 4 tees, par 5. That's a really good idea. Yeah, I got to tell you, it's fun watching that. I agree with you, Charlie. The ability to have the expectations that are on him already, just because of who his dad is. Because I watched Drew Love, and Bill Haas and Jack Nicklaus, Jr., Gary Nicklaus. I mean, playing against immortal fathers with that kind of expectations. And I tell people, expectations probably ruin more careers than anything. And it's why people get the yips from 2 feet and not 9 feet. You don't get the yips from 9 feet because you don't expect to make every one of them. Charlie, I mean, the ability to go out in front of crowds, pull it off with that kind of expectations, and maybe he doesn't have them. Maybe he knows that, I'm probably not going to be as good as my dad, and if he is, it'd be great. But who's going to be as good as his dad? But you're exactly right. That is a fun thing to watch. I love watching Annika play with her son, and Trevino.
Bernhardt's won it 6 years in a row now.
Golly. Well, I just want to know his diet. I want to know what he drinks. Everybody should just put that out. He should sell whatever he does. But yeah, I would, look, if Trevino played in every TGO match, the amount of people he's still that funny, that talented, there should be more of those people. And that's one of the scary things right now that I see in golf is I represent this kid named Julian Perico from Peru. He's as close to I've seen to Lee Trevino, if anybody I've seen. He's got a different swing. Powerful, big kid, but will talk to you while he's swinging, has no regard for not having fun. It's his, if he ever, remember the name, if he hits, if he wins something big, he'll be as big as Ricky Fowler. He has got that kind of personality. And that really concerns me, is that I know it's a serious game and they've got to pay attention, but man, there's a lot of clones out there. They look exactly the same. But that's going to say, when these are kids and watching their parents play with their kids, they're different. They act different, right? All of them. Annika was serious. I thought, play it, but she's having fun with her son. You can see that it's fun for her. And I know Mike, her husband, who's just a great guy. But yeah, I think maybe every event doesn't have to be the same on the PGA Tour. Maybe sometimes we could do some different things. But again, they've got control of that product. They just took $1.5 billion investment, and we'll see what they do with it. But I hope they create an incredible product, because I certainly wouldn't mind sponsors start coming out of the woodwork again like they used to.
Yeah, golf parity in golf is what golf is. It's parity. It's not like you have a dominant figure or anything. But when someone like Tiger comes along and breaks that, like Scotty Scheffler did, right? It changes everything and draws attention to it. Yeah, it's like teams that dominate create passion. Yeah. On both sides. Right. Like look at how the Yankees people love to hate the Yankees.
You're not going
right?
to hate Scotty Scheffler. Probably one of the nicest guys on earth. And him getting arrested was probably the
But
best
no
thing
one's
ever
going to
happened.
copy Scotty Scheffler. Who's going to be copying what Scotty Scheffler? I mean, basketball, everyone's trying to be Steph Curry now at every age.
Yeah,
They're shooting
right,
three-pointers,
right.
and he changed the game. But I can't imagine that any teacher's going to go, all right, here's what you're going to do with your feet today,
Oh my gosh.
right?
Yeah.
He's unique,
Well,
but he's succeeding. That's what's so interesting because that doesn't happen on the tour.
a really funny thing is that his teacher is the teacher that taught Justin Leonard, Randy Smith, down in Texas. Probably one of the most. I mean, Butch Harmon. Well, I will always say is the best teacher. Randy Smith. He should be the second most famous teacher in the world. He taught Justin Leonard, Harrison Frazier, and it goes on and on. Gary Woodland. But Randy Smith is an instructor that taught Justin Leonard. If you've ever seen him, I mean, Justin's swing is the opposite of Scotty Scheffler's. Justin was in complete balance. I mean, sturdy as you could be. But that's what I call a great instructor, is he didn't get in their way of being them. We talked earlier, well, you and I, before we got on here, about swing your swing. It'll hold up. Your swing will hold up under pressure if it's your swing. It may not be good enough to win a club championship, but it's your swing. It's the people that try to create another swing that's not who they are. Scotty Scheffler's swing is not going to break down under pressure because that's his swing. Justin's does not break down. And when you see people starting to tinker in their golf swing and change what they are, that's when they start breaking down under pressure, right? But yeah, I mean, nobody copies Jack Nicklaus's putting style. I mean,
Right.
one of the best putters ever under pressure, and you think you would see one guy out there that just, I'm going to do it like Jack. But yeah, but again, I remember in the 80s or 70s, who's the next Nicklaus? I remember that. It was going to be Bobby Clampett. It was going to be Gary Hallberg. It was going to be John Cook. How many next Nicklauses did they point out, right? Some of it was because of their hair color, some of it. But whoever dominated at that point, Bobby Clampett was so good. And Gary Hallberg, I think that might have been one of the greatest classes ever, 79. If you go back and look, if you go that far back, I'm aging myself. And who's the next Nicklaus? And there was not a next Nicklaus. It wasn't going to be. But one popped up, but it was a lot later than they ever dreamed. So maybe in another 15 years, somebody shows up, but I don't think so. And I'll tell you why. The training these kids are getting now from around the world, from an early age, we got TrackMans, we got spin rates, it used to be only the tour players had access to all those things. They had access to the best clubs, the best shafts, the best, now anyone can have the same stuff done, clubs built exactly to specs. So they're learning a lot quicker and a lot earlier. So talent-wise, like physically hitting a golf ball, there's millions of more people that have the ability to play pro golf, right? And so, and I have a T-shirt that is actually being printed now because people ask me, what is it that separates them? And I go, mind, heart, and balls. And I don't mean golf balls. And because all of them can hit it a long way. All of them can dial their irons in and their wedge distances in with TrackMan or, those things. But who can handle the pressure? Who can handle the expectations? Who can handle all the things that go into winning? And that's where you're going to see a separation. I don't know. Tiger's dad was Special Forces. I use 2 former Navy SEALs to help performance of our clients because that's about what they're doing out there. So that's the only training method that's left is mental training. And mental training in golf, as you know, the time people see a psychiatrist or sports psychiatrist, if there's a such thing, is when they have a problem. All right. And so it's going to be, to create an entertaining product, you're going to have an entertaining person. Entertainer people are going to have to be authentic. And, can it happen? I don't know.
I don't know. One of the things that I wrote down that I wanted to talk about with you was to recap 2024. Mm-hmm. But we've kind of been doing that all the way through. But what did we learn in 2024 that we can bring to 2025 and take advantage of?
Take advantage of. I think we've learned that golf viewing viewership in the world is kind of tired of hearing about money. I think we can stop that. I think we can learn that we can all get along. I think you saw at the PGA Championship that Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau and those guys can get along with each other. They're fine. It's going to be okay. They chose different paths. And I'm hoping we learned that maybe this should happen across the board. Because I'll tell you right now, if I owned a tour and I could have the opportunity to have the personalities that play on LIV play a few of my events, I'd want them out there. So I hope we've learned that. Maybe from the PGA Championship we learned that. And we'll learn it from the Masters.
Well, you and I have proven that we can just talk for a long time together.
Yes, we have.
We get into topics and you always seem to have a response, which is so much fun for me. And I really appreciate you sharing that time.
Thank you.
But it's Golf Smarter is not the only place that you're making your regular appearances to discuss these things. You have a radio show.
Well, yeah. Well, Lucas Glover has a radio show. And
okay.
And Scott Greenstein from SiriusXM, since he won the Open in 09, U.S. Open in 09 in New York, has tried to get him to do it. And the producer, Taylor Zarzer, he did a show with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his manager, a podcast. And so it was kind of like, well, okay, why don't we have Lucas and his manager do it? So I'm kind of a co-host or kind of a sub-in or an Ed McMahon type figure. So we get on there and
foil.
Yeah. And I mean, Lucas, like I say, Lucas is a smart cat and he's fun. And we're obviously terrific friends. We've been together for a long time. And everybody, like I said, I mentioned earlier, I'm kind of the Joe Rogan of golf. I like to go on rants about stuff. And it doesn't mean I'm right. And I'm not concerned if I am or not, but it's just what I think. At my age, I get to do that. And we even have a segment called Old Man Get Off My Lawn. And I get... and we both rant, but it's kind of set up for me to go at it and say things that, the way I see them. I get lots of messages of people that agree with me, and I get a lot of messages that don't agree with me, and neither one care. I could care otherwise because I'm not being mean. I'm just being honest about what I think. So it's fun though. We love it. It's a lot of fun.
How long have you been doing it with him?
We started last year, so I'm trying to think our first show. Is
it weekly?
It's getting more weekly. Yeah, we did the first. We didn't do as many, and it was kind of did Lucas like it, and in reality, I mean, there was some method to the madness. Lucas, I think, would be one of the best TV broadcasters ever because he is smart and he's witty. He's a very funny guy, but he's an honest guy. He's authentic, and a little bit it was to see how he liked being in front of that microphone. And
he's not really animated, at least not on the microphone. Because I heard the series that on him that Matt Janella did. I've heard it multiple times.
Yeah. He's getting more amped up. Good. He's amped. I mean, it's just like LIV. It's going to take some time. He's getting more comfortable. He's an incredible interviewer. We have guests on and he interviews them, and it's fun to listen to him ask questions. And I mean,
awesome.
he does research and stuff. And so it's not just like, he's just not guessing on it. But he has really enjoyed it. And I have too. I mean, he's, like I say, he's one of my best friends in the world. And I love hanging out with him, listening with him. And we have dinner most of the time if we're together. And so, yeah, I've enjoyed it. I don't know if I'm hurting him or helping him, but we'll see. If they kick me off, we'll know I was hurting him.
Listen, if you're getting emails, if you're getting, messages from listeners, good or bad, you're engaging.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That means that they have some passion about it.
Absolutely.
Trust me.
Yeah.
I know.
It's good and bad publicity, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You mentioned to me also before we started recording that you're writing a book.
Yeah, well,
let's talk about that.
Well, if anybody knows me, they know I've been writing it forever. I mean, I've probably spouted it out so long they're probably tired of me. I've got a lot in me, as you know, talking to me. My dad was, played some pro baseball and became a a minister in the United, or the formerly United Methodist Church. They're not united anymore. But my dad and he was a Buddha to me. He taught me life. He taught me to the point that I went to the same undergrad college at High Point University he did. And my dad went so late that I actually studied theology under the same professors he did.
Wow.
And the big joke was that, one time I called my dad and said that, I'm thinking about maybe following his footsteps. I loved what he did, and after he quit laughing and got up off the floor, because I was not known to go inside of those buildings that have altars and pews and organs. I won't call them churches, but I just, that didn't appeal to me. But I did appeal to my dad's way of life. And when he said it, he said, "Son, I'm not a preacher, I'm a minister. And minister means to serve, and you can serve from anywhere. So don't." And my last conversation with my dad in 2008, a few weeks before he passed away suddenly, was he looked at me and he said, "You became a minister, bud." And I was like, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah, you remember you used to tell me no one comes to my house to tell me how things are going great. They only call me when there's a problem." And he goes, "And being around you, when you answer the phone, not many clients call you and say, 'Hey, I just want to let you know I'm playing great and life is wonderful. Something's happened.'" And I looked at him and I said, "I really did become a minister." And so
that's a pretty powerful exchange.
Yeah. And
with your dad.
So I've never been like anyone else in this business. I don't do it for money. I don't care about that part of it. I really care about these young men and women that I get to represent and try to help them through life, not just through golf. They know what to do on the golf course. It's all the other things. And most of them have never had a job. Most of them have played golf since they were 4. They're insulated to life. And what people don't realize on the outside is they go through everything that all of us go through. They go through deaths in the families and divorces and the highest highs and the lowest lows. And I usually get to be a part of all of them. I'm the ABC Sports, that thrill of victory and agony of defeat. I get it all. And I've enjoyed the contrast of that. I've been through some incredibly great things, and I've been through some things that so tragic that I never want to go through again. And so through what my dad taught me, and then what I've always had this way of relating golf and life. And every lesson in life and every lesson in golf are almost parallel. And everything you got to do to be a good golfer, you got to do to live a good life. I mean, you got to be dedicated. You got to be consistent. You got to be religious. And I don't mean religious in the sense of religious like of a Christianity or Buddhism. I'm talking about religiously do things. I mean, most of us religiously brush our teeth, right? But when you're going to be great at something, you got to do certain things religiously. I mean, you got to get up and do things and be committed. And so I've always had all these
disciplined.
All these stories that I relate to golf. I told you one about Justin Leonard that taught me something that's life. And so I have been putting them together forever and ever. And just recently, what I needed was a title. I know that sounds kooky. And Michael Bamberger, who told me that everyone has a book in them, and that's where they should remain. And I hope Michael's not mad at me for not keeping mine inside. But these stories, that it's like a motivational book, but it has to have golf involved, because that's what I'm known for. I'm known for my experience of 34 years in golf and behind the doors and knowing things. And someone finally came up. The title of the book is going to be called Pards for Golf, because I've got a good buddy that calls me Pards, and he's the one that tells me, "Man, would you write your book? Would you just write your book?" And it's really what it is. It's par for golf. It's the PAR of par for the course. And my Pards for the course is kind of like telling you life is, everything that happens is par for the course. I mean, people will tell you I missed a connection and had to spend the night in a hotel, as I did last night. I mean, in the airport. And that's just par for the course. That's what life is. And what we try to teach our guys is that the outcome of life. We know the outcome. We know where this kind of ends, right? And when you travel on a highway that you could get caught in a traffic jam. You know that when your caddy gives you a club, it could be the wrong club. You could hit it in the water. These are all outcomes of your life. why do they cause so much anxiety and so much anger? You should already be accustomed to the outcomes that are possible with anything you pursue. So if you fly on a public airline, expect cancellations and delays and misconnections. Don't let it bother you. Just move through it. And that's the journey. And that is the contrast. So long answer to your thing, I finally have got them pretty much all compiled at an editor, and I'm going to pop it out there. And it might sell 10 books. I'm not writing it to sell it, as people tell me. I'm writing it to get it out of me so I can quit thinking about it. So we'll
Interesting.
see. We'll see.
So I'm sure that you have an office where you live, but you're not in it now. You're in a hotel room. Give me an overview of what your life is like, your schedule is like during the golf season, or is it 12 months a year like that?
It's pretty much 12 months a year.
Yeah.
Well, I am very lucky. I am really fortunate. I'm in Ketchum, Idaho, Sun Valley, Idaho. I snowboard. I snowboard religiously. That is my passion in life. Is I snowboard every moment I can. The mountain's right behind me here. I base in the winter in Idaho. And as I said, Monday I flew to the American Express, as I would wherever I was, I would be there Monday, and I leave Thursday. I go to the terminal Monday and come home Thursday. Once they start playing, I'm out of there. They've got their job to do. So I base here in Idaho. I'm very fortunate. I've got a great base and friends here. Otherwise, I'm in St. Simons Island, Georgia, which is another incredible resort. So I base there. But if I'm not in the office, which if everybody knows, I really don't have an office. I have people that have offices. I usually just sit in one of their offices because my phone is my office. And but I travel to tour events, quite a few tour events, because I've got players on the PGA Tour. I got players on the LIV Tour. I got players on the Korn Ferry Tour. I have players on the Challenge Tour, on the DP World Tour, on the Asian Tour. Now, I have partners that live in Europe that handle most of those over there. I've got partners right now in Dubai at that tournament. And I have partners that will be at San Diego. So someone in my company will be on site pretty much every event. It's like anything else. They're your clients and they're your friends, and you want to be there some and catch on what's going on. And there's several of us in this company, so we don't all have to travel every week. But so about every third or fourth week, I'm out on a tour event until Florida. As Greg Norman says, the tour starts in Florida. Coming to Florida, I'm at 5 out of 6 events a week. And why is that? Because we're building up to Augusta. And when the Masters happens, when you go to the Masters, that's what kicks it off. And you've already kind of laid groundwork for your clients. You've got the stuff done. And then at the Masters, everyone that's involved in golf, well, if it's every corporation will be there. So that's when you have to be there. So, it's like you're conspicuous by your absence. You have to be at these events. And so that's pretty much my life is like throughout the year. I'm never working and I'm never on vacation. And I have had people go, he's all screwing off in the mountains. And no, I've been on the phone all day doing my job. And if I can sneak out and snowboard for a few hours, I do. And if I'm at home on St. Simons, everybody knows you'll see me on the back of the range at Frederica, swinging them silly golf swing and trying to hit golf balls. It's kind of my man yoga. It's the greatest job and it's the worst job. And when I speak at sports marketing classes, I write on the board, everybody wants the job they think I have. You better love it because, I'm sleeping on floors in the airport sometimes to get back. And again, 90% of the time, if a client's calling me, he's not calling me to tell me how good things are. Something's happened, right? But again, that's what I'm here for, right? I'm here. And if it's not them, it could be a spouse. If it's not a spouse, it could be a parent. And I'm there for all of them because it takes a village to raise a pro golfer, as I tell them.
I just had a scheduled a call today to talk to a young man who's at Carleton College, and he wants to be in the sports business, and because he's a huge sports fan. And I'm telling him, well, wait a minute. I wanted this conversation. It's like, do you love sports? Because if you love sports, be a fan. If you love the sports business, then we can have this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a very different thing, because if you're a fan and you start working in it, you're going to end up hating the sport because of the amount of hours and the little pay that you're going to make doing that.
And a lot of pro golfers end up that way. It becomes a job, and you don't see them smile anymore. And it's sad. I hate to see it when it becomes a job to these guys. Hey, look, I have people honestly that think that I'm not working, and because I enjoy it so much, I'm having fun. I even. Sometimes I'm like a duck and my feet are kicking underneath the water like crazy, but I'm not going to let you know it. But I've made, as I said, I've always told people that if you don't love your job enough to where people can't tell when you're working and when you're not, you're probably in the wrong job. And I got lucky. It's all luck. I had no intention in college of doing this. I turned out to be okay at it. And then I built around it. I love to snowboard. Well, guess when golf is least played? In the wintertime. Christmas is my favorite time. I'm going to get 5 or 6 days that no one's going to bother me except maybe wish me Merry Christmas. And I'd get my kids out and we can go hang out, and I get that moment. But have I answered a phone call from a client on every day of the year before? Absolutely. Christmas Day, New Year's Day, 3 in.the morning. Absolutely. And it's on, and it will stay on. When I'm snowboarding, if you call me and your name, because it tells me who's on the phone, if it's somebody I want to talk to, I answer it, sit down on wherever on the slope and talk to them. What do you need? Or I'm known to get on the gondola and write an email or send a proposal, get off, snowboard, and come back and do it again. So I tell everyone, look, I know I'm lucky in the sense I get to do that, but I tell anybody, whatever you're doing, try to make it to where they can't tell you're working. If not, do something else. But I know a lot of people that have jobs just to make the money, and that's okay. But it doesn't appeal to me. I certainly don't. I've had a lot. You can imagine how many people call me and want to get into my business. I've had surgeons call me that want to get out of surgery, and I'm like, man, you're really good at that. I think what I do would drive 90% of the people in the world crazy. Because I'm never off, and Friday nights at 7, but I don't want to be. These are my clients. I signed up for this. I don't sign people I don't like either. So people goes, why do you have to have dinner with these guys? I said, I want to see how they treat their waiters and their water people, because I'm going to be serving them too. I want to see how they treat people that serve them. But that's the other thing about golf, and this, Fred. 99% of the people in golf are great people. They're fun. They're different. Some of them are nicer than others, but golf attracts really cool people.
Well, you want to talk about lucky. I would have to say that I am incredibly lucky because you crossed my path.
I feel the same way. Thank you, sir.
I just enjoy so much. We record for over an hour, but we talk a lot more than that.
Yes,
and
sir.
I really appreciate your time, man.
Thank you, man. Thanks.